Hello everyone, so this is going to be the spark plug and ignition pack replacement for the 2015 Nissan Juke SL all-wheel drive. So starting off, a couple of tools you're going to need, just like a basic ratchet set. If you don't want to get the entire set, you can just get like a ratchet with a 3/8 inch drive with an extender and a 14mm socket. The Nissan Juke doesn't use the standard socket for spark plugs. It uses the 14mm. So from here, first step, you're going to want to and also you'll want a torque wrench as well for the spark plug removal, a wrench for removal of some of these or a pair of pliers for the removal of some of these clamps that are on here. And then so first, you're going to want to disconnect your battery here. Mine has a lot of corrosion on it. Don't worry about that right now. I'm going to replace it in the future. Just waiting a little bit on that. And then so after that, you can go ahead and remove this cover here. I already took it off, but it's only held in by these mounting brackets that go into these little holes here. Once you pull that off, it's going to be kind of intimidating looking at the engine, but it's really a lot simpler than it may seem to some of you guys, especially if you're a little bit mechanically inclined. So essentially a bunch of plumbing around here. Here's our engine right under here, and we have our ignition coil packs that are right here. So you have 1, 2, let's see, 3 is under there, and then 4 right there. So there's going to be 4 ignition pack replacements and 4 spark plugs that we're replacing. But to begin with, you're going to want to remove this pipe here, remove some of this hosing. I've already disconnected it from the mounts that are right here. This can be just disconnected with, I believe, some 12mm sockets right there. And the rest of it is going to be clamps like right here. Be careful if you've been driving your vehicle recently. A lot of this stuff's going to be hot. You don't want to touch anything hot, or maybe you want to wear some gloves. I ran out of gloves, so I am kind of just roughnecking it with my hands. Yeah. All right, so once you've got these two 12mm bolts right here taken off, you can go ahead and set them somewhere you're not going to forget about them or lose them. Don't set them anywhere in the engine compartment, because if you bump the vehicle or if you go to grab it wrong, they could fall down in there and you may need to go buy new ones. Done that before. This hose right here is just in these little clamps. Just take it out. It's right there. Be gentle with it. Take this out right here like this, set it to the side. You're not going to need it. You don't want it in the way for what we're doing. Let's see. So right here, what you got is 4 10mm bolts that need to be released. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is back there. All you need is your ratchet extender with a 12mm socket on there. And you can go ahead and loosen up these bolts here. All right, so now once you've got all those bolts out of there, you can just go ahead and gently wiggle on these a little bit and give them a good solid yank. You should hear suction like that. Once you've got them pulled out, you can go ahead and disconnect the ignition coil packs by pressing down on this tab and pulling it out. I'm gonna need both hands for this. So all right, so this is what the once it's disconnected right there, this is what the ignition coil looks like. This is one of the things we're replacing. This one doesn't look to be in bad condition or anything. I'm not having any misfiring issues, so there's not really any real reason to replace it, other than the fact that there was a good deal on carparts.com, and I figured I might as well get 4 new ignition coils along with the spark plugs. So however, if you're reusing your ignition coils, be very gentle and careful with them. Set them to the side somewhere where they're not going to get dirty or dropped or anything like that. And remember the way in which they were in there, so that you can put them back the exact same way. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them. All right, so once you've got all 4 of those ignition coils out, this is what it's going to look like. a bunch of holes you can see down in there. That right there is the spark plug. We're gonna go in there with a 14mm socket that I just picked up today, along with an extender here. That's gonna allow us to reach deep in there with our ratchet and pull that and unscrew it. Once we unscrew it, there's no way I can, this isn't like a magnetic socket, so there's no way I can really pull it out. So I'm gonna use my handy dandy magnet here, which I just picked up a couple days ago, which has really already saved my butt a couple of times. So there we go. And I'll show you guys me taking them out. All right guys, so this is what the spark plug looks like once it's pulled out. I'm replacing them with pretty much the exact same thing. Platinum tip, laser, iridium, NGK spark plugs. And that gap's got to be 0.035, I believe. I'll double check that with the manual. And I'll make that gap here with a little spark plug gap tool right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the rest of these. You saw there I needed to loosen it a bit more and pull it out with the magnet, and that's pretty much how that goes. So I'm gonna take out the rest now. So this is how it looks when all 4 spark plugs are out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the new spark plugs, and I'll show you guys me putting them in. So here's our new spark plugs, laser iridium premium spark plugs from NGK. Pretty much the same things that come from the factory. And here's our 1, 2, 3, 4 ignition packs that we're going to replace. Those, if you remember, those are these thingamabobs right here. All right, so this is how the new spark plug looks right here. You can see that gap right there. I'm about to adjust it here in a second. All right guys, it's a pretty delicate process. As you can see, I got the spark plug gapped here, but as you can see, I got that right on 0.035. All right, so once you got all 4 of your new spark plugs gapped to their specifications by the dealer, you can go ahead and reinsert them. I recommend not just taking them and dropping them in by hand. That's upside down. By hand, but actually taking this magnet or a pair of long needle nose pliers and dropping them in that way, because you do not want to break or damage these spark plugs in any way. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I got all the spark plugs dropped in their holes, and I'm going to go ahead and go in with my extender here, and I'm going to tighten them all up. Once they're all tightened, hand tightened with this, and nothing crazy. I'm just going to go until first bit of resistance I feel, and then I'm going to switch over immediately to my torque wrench here. A 3/8 inch drive extender here with a 3/8 inch 14mm socket, and a 1/2 inch drive extender with a 3/4 inch, there it is, 3/4 inch adapter on the end here, or a 3/8 inch adapter on the end there. And it's gonna look a little bit silly and super long, but it'll work. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys hand tightening, and then we'll tighten it with the torque. All right guys, now that I got all those just barely hand tightened, I can go in with my insane extension on the torque wrench here. I know it looks a little bit silly, but I really didn't feel like going out and buying more things, especially because this adapter, it does not fit in that hole right down there. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. I have it set to 14 foot-pounds on the torque specifications. If you have any questions or you're not sure where to find that torque, I found it online. Nowhere in the manual did it say how tight the spark plugs need to be, so I had to go online and actually find an answer on a forum. And a lot of the actual answers I found on how to do this project I found online. If you have any questions yourself, just read the manual, go online and look it up, or if it comes to it, just go ahead and take your car to a mechanic, or at least ask a professional about how to do it. All right, guys, I have my torque wrench set to 14 foot-pounds torque. I'm gonna go ahead and go in and tighten this, and I'm just gonna go until I hear the very first click here. All right, that was it for that one. Moving on to the next one. All right, there's that click. Moving on to the next one. All right, that one's clicked. And the very last one, we'll go ahead, click her in, make sure we get situated. All right, all 4 spark plugs are now tightened to 14 foot-pounds or pounds-foot, I can't remember. And they're all tightened, so I can go ahead and put in my new ignition coils. And here's the 4 ignition coil packs I have set up here. I'm gonna go ahead and slide them into the spark plug canals. All right. So this one, remember, if you remember from earlier, this one goes in backwards. If you ever have any question on which way it goes in, look at the where the plug that goes into the ignition pack is. On this side, it's over here. And obviously you can see on this side of the coil, it plugs in right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and push this in, slide in just fine. So let's see, there we go. Okay, all right, it's in there, it clicked in, I felt it. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in right here. You're gonna push that in until you hear that click, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them. All right, guys, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 ignition packs installed. I went ahead and clipped in all these clips right here on all of them, and now I'm ready to take these screws from earlier and fasten down the ignition packs. All right, guys, I got all 4 of these little screws in to fasten down the ignition packs. Now I'm gonna go in with my ratchet extender and a 10mm socket. All these screws right here on the 2015 Nissan Juke are going to be 10mm socket. All right, guys, now that we got all 4 of these packs fastened down with the screws, that one was a little bit hard to get, but you just got to move this hose out of the way. We're going to go ahead and we're going to replace our plumbing here, put it back where it goes, and we're going to screw it in with our 2 bolts from earlier, if you remember. All right, guys, the same ratchet extender, except the socket's going to be a 12mm for these bolts. Nice and gently so that you don't mess with any of the threading on these bolts up here, okay? Or any of these screws. Let's see, first I'm going to just hand tighten it. All right, go ahead, tighten these. All right, now that everything is fastened, I like to give this a little tug and make sure that I really got it on there right. If I didn't, I would feel some sort of wiggling or jiggling, but it's on there real tight. I got all my ignition packs, my coil packs are all fastened in. I'm gonna go ahead and take the cover and put the cover back on now. All right, it's nice and seated. Now I'm gonna go ahead and reconnect my battery terminals. Don't mention all the corrosion on my battery. I understand it's not safe. I'm gonna get a new battery here soon. All right, and now that we have everything back together, we're ready to go ahead and try to give it a start. All right, go ahead. All right, and that is not a good sign. So I was able to get it started, but my procrastination on the battery change is the reason it wouldn't start. So be sure when you start seeing that corrosion, you get it. You get your battery changed as soon as possible, and don't forget to lubricate the terminals either. So, all right. So this is the last video. I went ahead and went and got a new battery, and Got some new terminals as well, no corrosion. I even put some grease on there to get it nice and good, so that it doesn't corrode again, to prevent some of that corrosion. All right, go ahead and give it a start. All right, so it starts up great, sounds great, runs great. I'm gonna take it for a drive right now, and yeah, that is the change for the 2015 Juke.